Namaskar. With less than 4 weeks to go before the inter exams, we're addressing the elephant in the room. The single most important problem which most of you across India will be going through is fear of failure. So let me put some quick context into the nature of fear, which will help you understand what is happening within you, and then we'll give you a path to address this. Okay, this is the nature of this conversation. First, in general, fear is largely irrational. So when I say irrational, it is not logical. If it's logical, you can handle it. Fear is not logical. Most of the fears are not logical. Your mind thinks in an irrational manner. That is why it is not correlated to what is happening or what can really happen. That's why they say 99% of the fears, 99% of the things which you fear about never happen. You think about imaginary things. You think about how many times were you scared of. Let's say our moms are constantly scared that we might fall down. If we go to a tour, something might happen. It is the natural tendency, right? Even let's say when my kid is running, I'm always scared that she might trip and fall down, right? So it rarely happens. So most of the fears are irrational. Now, fear of failure is also reasonably irrational, not completely, reasonably irrational. But you have to understand how do you convert into a logical structure so that you can address it. Because when something is irrational, you cannot address it. Once it becomes logical, there are steps to solve it. This is the nature of fear. So when I say irrational, there is no specific reason. Now, if you're scared that I might fail, why? You have to question why. Why would you fail? If you're completing the syllabus, if you're revising, if somebody is constantly monitoring you, you're writing tests, you're performing well, you're not wasting much time, why would you fail? So the irrational part of the fear should be completely removed. Now, how do we convert it into something logical? For example, you're scared that you might fail. Now break it down into systematic steps. One, I'm yet to complete syllabus. This fear is rooted in some logic that you're not yet completed the syllabus. Unable to recall. You tried it out multiple times, but not able to recall. And even after recalling, you're not able to write the answer in terms of the expectations of the ICA. Let's say these are logical steps which are broken down from the fear of failure. So first convert your fears into something rational and realistic or practical. So this will help you to focus on, because when I say I'm unable to complete the syllabus, I'm yet to complete the syllabus, it is not a fear, it is a problem. Problems can be solved. Fears cannot be solved. Understand that. The moment you convert fear into a defined problem, there are always solutions to problems. It is easier to solve a problem than to reduce the fear or remove the fear. So ideally, remove the fear, else reduce the fear, else redefine the problem into redefine the fear into definitive problems. So if you could do this, you'll have reasonable control over why you are scared, and most importantly, you know what to do and what can be done. So this is what it is. And as I said, problem solving is simpler than fear reduction or fear removal. Okay, so this is about the nature of fear. Now, if I had to convert this into something specific, these are the words given by some of your friends here. Now, what are you worried about? Why do you think you are going to fail? I believe I have less time to practice costing. Make sense? Now, when you say this as a problem, there is a solution. What is the solution? Solve more problems. While you're trying to solve more problems, if it is taking more time, how do you solve more problems in lesser time is a problem which can be solved with the help of your mentors. If you say I'm scared of failing, nobody knows what to do. Nobody can react to that. It's hard for people to react to fears because they're also relational. It's easy for somebody to solve the problem based on their capacity. Handling fear is beyond everyone's capacity. When you're scared, you're scared. You're shit scared. That's it. Right? So anxiety or restlessness linked to a sense of completion. Now, okay, somebody wants that sense of completion. So the regular sense of completion will take hundreds of hours. But there is a method in which we can create a perceptual sense of completion, which can happen very fast. This also can be solved. Similarly, there are a lot of problems where we converted fears into problems. All of this can be solved. Each and everything written on the board can be solved, including something like this. I have a subconscious questioning mechanism which always questions my ability to clear. Although I'm putting my hard work, although I think this is my best possible attempt in terms of effort, something is bothering me, which is questioning me. So all of this are constantly bothering you, right? You can correlate to some of them or most of them, but it is time to start addressing them. You have to be reasonably aware. You should know that you're reacting to a particular situation in a certain way. For example, when something is said, naturally you cannot trust anyone. It might be in your nature that you may not be able to trust anyone. But if you know that you're not able to trust anyone, it's okay. Then we'll react to it differently. For example, if I'm someone who gets angry easily, if I don't know it, that's a problem. If I know it, probably I'll find a mechanism to reduce it or to move myself out of the place, or at least be aware that I might be angry. Probably I'll have this conversation later. So some level of awareness is required for you. Otherwise, you'll be losing around 15 minutes in every 50-minute slot. 30 to 40% wastage will happen. And most importantly, you'll start behaving very impulsively. The most common response is, shall I write in June? Shall I write in June? I'll get a rank in June. Some other nonsense. So this conversation should address it once for all. Apart from the psychological intervention. Now, some of you already spoke to a psychologist. She'll be back next week. But this conversation is to give you some level of awareness, which normally nobody gets that easily, this kind of information. Okay. So I also have Ravi with us with some IIT mentors, and most importantly, he has invested the last 15 years of his life into understanding how the mind functions or the mechanics of mind. He's one of the best resource in this category. So over to him, who will give you better clarity on how to handle this. So then we'll look at any questions which you might have.
Just give me one moment. So, if you can break, if you can, what is it? Break into fear, come break down the underlying reasons and solve it, and you can, let's say, make it a much smaller problem than what it is. That's enough. Okay, you don't need to do anything else. You're there. Now the thing is, let's say you're enslaved to fear. Okay, it's like dominating you like really badly. Then this may be necessary. Ideally, this won't be necessary in the sense that once you look at it, see, the thing is, if you prepare well, I don't know, like, forget about CA, you would have prepared well for something, right? Maybe for an event in your house. Okay, if the preparation is really good, you'll actually look forward to the event, right? Similarly, if your preparation is really well, you start looking forward, you'll get excited, right? If your preparation is not getting there, it'll feel scary, right? So now that is there. Now, apart from that, now the problem is this fear is, if you have fear during preparation, it's getting in the way of preparation, right? Now, what do you do next time? So, what happens to you when you get scared? Can someone answer? Like, what happens within you when you get scared?
You get deviated. You don't study.
Okay. And like, so how do you get deviated in the sense that what will happen? What do you typically do?
It's like imagining what will happen, like parents' reaction, others' reaction, the hard work. It's like we are trying to, it's like predict the future.
Right. So, and if the fear becomes intense, what will happen? So one is you want to get you want to move away from that, right? You'll figure out a way to distract yourself, not consciously, but you'll do something wherein you have to take your mind off that and put somewhere else, right? That's the first thing that you sort out. Now, if it's really intense, as in it's making you really scared. See, this one, what happens is you get scared and you take a break, do something, and then come back and start studying. That's typically what happens to you. That's what almost everybody has. Right? The next thing is it's holding on by your collar. Okay, so then what do you do? Like, let's say you're doing a bungee jumping. I don't know. So the 10 seconds or 15 seconds before you fall, it should be scared. It should be really scary. Right? So then what you have to what is it that you can do is, the most important thing is, intense fear will not get resolved by running away from it. Okay, you don't want to write exam not because you'll fail. You don't want to write exam because you're scared. Not even because if you don't mind failure, if that is not scary, you will actually go and write. The failure is creating fear within. Now, that is one of the problems that you have. Now the thing is, if that doesn't get solved, I don't want to spend more time on this one, but the key thing is when you have that fear, okay, don't run away. Just sit and watch the fear. When I say watch the fear, typically what happens when you get scared, you get shriveled up inside, right? It's like, you want to get distance from everybody. You have to watch that. You have to watch how it's, what is it, manifesting within you. Like, one is that. The second thing is you have to watch and don't try to change it. Just watch it. Then you will see that, I don't want to tell this, it should happen to you. So you'll feel that suddenly that gets dissolved a little bit. Then you'll have like space. And then you can come back to it. This is only if it becomes intense. Ideally, you should be able to solve it with the way Himakant just told you. Because that'll work for most of you. If it gets really intense, this is what you need to do. Watch it. Watch it. That's it. If I say wait, then you'll start waiting for this getting there. It won't work. So you just have to sit and watch. You sit and watch, like literally like a watchman. You just sit and watch what's going on. Your job is to just watch. That's it. Nothing else. Once you watch, after some time it changes significantly. Okay, this is what you need to do. Now the second thing is that we wanted to discuss was how many of you don't think, you may think that this process is good, but the way, I mean, the bulk of the preparatory process, but how many of you think it is not a right fit for you? Just raise your hand. You may think the process is good, okay, you might be appreciative of it, but you might be thinking it is not a good fit for you. How many of you think that is the case? Not just the study time and stuff, just the process of preparation. Everybody is convinced that this is good, or you don't want to admit in public? Okay, how many of you are not able to follow the process? Okay, whoever is able to follow the process, raise your hand. Whoever is able to follow the process, raise your hand. Nobody is able to follow the process.
Everybody in the middle.
No. That's okay. The process is also in the middle, in the time frame. Okay, which parts of it are you able to follow? Which parts of it are you not able to follow? Maybe talk about it. Okay, I'll also sit silently. I also know how to sit silently. You stand.
You're all pen. I'm holding together. You have only two choices. You have to raise hands for either question A or question B. Okay. Question A, you're not able to follow the process. Option B, you're able to follow the process. Like a conservative believing that there are only two genders, or there are many more. You say there are only two genders, you have to choose one. So how many of you
are leaning towards what? Are you doing 60% following of the process, 60% avoiding the process? What is it? 51, let's say. 51. You have no choice.
You have to raise.
You have to raise. First one, 51% following the process.
How many of you are able to follow the process at least till 51%?
No, don't raise it to your shoulder, raise it above your heads.
Don't raise it 51, raise it 100%.
So you are only raising half, one hand, no? Two hands you can raise half, but one hand.
Yeah, so you're able to, largely most of you are able to follow the process, more than 51%.
Okay. So which part of it are you not able to follow? Maybe start from Anam and then.
What is the
what is the most important thing that you're not able to follow?
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Next you.
For me, the reception in all the slots is not equal. So I think similar to the routine.
Oh, okay.
So one is the routine gets disturbed. Next,
Not equal reception in all the slots.
Yeah, the slots and the routine. That's the only.
they is not consistent.
Yeah,
Okay.
same.
Nobody can repeat what the other person said. You can add one more thing to it. Okay, you can add one more thing. You can say that plus something. Start with the second person. Anam is the only one who told that, so nobody can repeat. You can add to that. That is a problem for me. I have one more problem.
My reception is not equal in all the slots.
That's what she said.
She said she had a problem. Yeah, it's similar.
So no, she said that's unable to wake up. No, let her speak. Hari, you won't exist there to give answers to them. No?
Yeah, unable to follow the routine consistently.
Okay.
No, yeah, her problem is a bit different. Yeah.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Yes, I get this.
So when it gets too intense, like no, we're not able to be in a particular time slots and the plus routine.
Oh.
Yeah, but I think the timings and the consistency.
That's something that you're not able to.
Yeah,
That's fine. That's what he said. No, something like this. You don't have anything else.
same,
You
same.
can't tell
Largely,
anything. I just said you have done something different.
I'll
Is that
think
the only
about
thing
it. I'll think about it.
Okay. You guys think about it. You'll come back.
Not being productive, like in
What makes you think you're not productive?
it's different every day. Out of
Obviously, the questions are also different. You're not learning the same thing or same level of difficulty.
taking more time to complete the syllabus.
How do you know that that is more time or less time? What makes you say that?
Not being able to complete it in the given schedule.
Oh, that schedule. That is a schedule. Maintain sticking to a schedule is
Finishing the targets.
Efficiency. My efficiency is getting high sometimes, getting low sometimes. No, sir. She said productivity. My efficiency.
With any words. Or if I don't understand it.
No, sir. Sometimes I'll be like very fast in doing some things. I'll get sometimes low, very low. Means taking so much time.
That's what he's saying.
She's having. I have the same problem.
You don't have any other problem. If you fix this, you're 100% right.
Yeah. And some other concepts.
What else?
Like subject. Lack of intensity towards the subjects, which is more familiar to me. I will go easily and done and dusted. If it's something is dragging or where I am not able to deliver or my mindset or something is pushing me down, I will carry away by those thoughts and left with unproductive.
So generally, when at night times or late studying is what I like it. So when it comes to late studying, my speed is good. My understanding is also good. When it comes to morning, it just suddenly that slows me a little bit, little slow. But compared to the night hours, like what I do after writing my DR, I do 1 hour extra. That's like in kind of recap to me, or it's more fun for me to do at night.
No, that's not a problem.
Yeah, I mean, like.
If you don't have a problem, you don't create problems. No. If you passing means you don't have a problem. Then that is okay.
Actually, I face all the problems which they have
Okay.
addressed.
That's fine.
Nothing else I could add.
I know at least one problem that you told me personally, which is that you're not even telling the them, then what does it say?
Nothing.
You don't want to speak in public. See, you're getting tensed up significantly. Okay, I'll give you that.
No problem.
See? So, whom are you mentoring? Okay, you tell me what problems they have. Apart from this, about following the process.
Apart from following the process.
They told this thing, right? Anyway, what, like, what should she add to make her follow the process well?
To make her follow the process well.
So, is there anything else she should do, or this is all that is?
This is all that is, and also she's thinking about home and all. At times
Okay.
she's getting zoned out.
Okay.
She's sitting in front of books but thinking about all those things.
What was that?
Sarthak, he's good for as of now.
Okay, you don't say.
No.
You were.
Sudarshan and Tejashwi. Sudarshan and Tejashwi. Coming to Tejashwi, she's just focusing on 30%, which is not completed. She's forgetting about the 70%, which she is perfect at. She's always thinking of this and like a fear of failure, and her productivity is getting lost because of that 30% which she didn't do.
Okay, whom else are you?
And Sudarshan. has some lack of conceptual understanding. If we are like if I taught the like concept, if that he don't know, he's 100% writing his accuracy is perfect. Something which is lacking in him is conceptual understanding. If I can teach him that, he can produce accurately.
Okay, so yes, concept.
Yes.
Kushal and Pranati. So I find Pranati is less objective in doing things. If you give a task, she'll be doing it for the sake of our process rather than
She's like
being.
she wants to just
for
put a
the-
check mark, but not actually derive value.
She's gradually improving. I've been explaining the things to her. Why is this? Why is this? Why? So she's doing well these days. So previously she has a problem.
She's improved.
She has improved. Yes, she has been improving. And coming to routine also, she has some problem. Means in the morning she's unable to study well. For that she has to sleep well first. Sleep early rather than spending time on chit chatting or something else. And for Kushal, like he said, in the morning he's a bit less productive than in the during the night.
Actually, don't get power.
Yeah, he's doing well
Who else is
this
there?
time.
Sarvan, you.
Sarvan, Sairam, Radha, Vatsala.
Then you should.
Starting with Sardak, initially his answers were very vague. So then we started working on preciseness. Once we started working, what happened is he made his answers too precise, way too precise. Like it's like he picks up the points and leaves it. There's no coherence in his answer writing. That is the only thing. I think that's what we noticed last time. So the vagueness is reduced, but there has to be something more. It's not just the without packing. So if he does that, he'll be sorted, both for all the subjects. Now, this is one single thing. If he can do it, coherence in answer writing, he'll get that extra half mark or 1 mark per answer. He'll be sorted. So because it was that's the only 7-8% difference which he wants. Now, Sarvan, again, for him, I discussed with his parents as well. Fundamentally, for him, he believes everything else is a problem, everyone else is a problem. It doesn't matter what it is. He always thinks something else is a problem because he refuses to take responsibility. The only reason why I'm considerate about him is he might be doing it unconsciously. If he's doing it consciously, it will be termed as arrogance. If it's being done unconsciously, it becomes ignorance. So because of this, whenever you ask something, the focus shifts to someone else. Let's say you are supposed to do X number of things. You don't do anything, and then you always have a question to point out to someone something, and you can't adapt to any situation, any place because they changed almost 4 different places and 5-6 mentors. If everyone is bad, like there are colleagues who have cleared and colleagues who have got 200 out of 300. When you're coming from the same ecosystem, you have to think about it. If that is not sorted, you'll become a problem-centric person everywhere. So this is a bigger problem than clearing CA. Yeah, than that. So that's a largely a personality issue which has to be fixed. And yeah, that's we have to work on it. That's one. With Kushal earlier, this guy is effort intensive, but not result focused. In the sense that he doesn't have a problem in putting as much efforts as possible. Like he always puts in a significant sense of efforts to the extent where it's scary to see him studying. He can just sit and study. Unbelievable ability to study. And a nice guy doesn't resist much. But he doesn't focus much on the outcome as compared to the input. That he has become conscious, and I think after 4 years of failure, this 1 year, this calendar year, he has seen success thrice. CMA one group, CMA other group, CA first group. So it's solved. Now this cycle it will be sorted. Yes, that's about it. So he is sorted. Now Sudarshan, I think it's largely a non-subject related problem because his bandwidth is occupied in something personal. Now he's thinking about something which is happening at his home. So that is consuming his complete mental energy, mental bandwidth. That's why he's not able to see the result. Now you put a full stop to that, he'll see significant spike. Irrespective of that, he's seeing progress, which is slightly here and there. But once that gets sorted, his mind space becomes empty, and then he can really focus on. And it just takes a week for him to reduce this problem that I won't be able to clear. If he cuts off the channel entirely, which I'll help him do it, and he'll know that he'll clear. Now, Sairam, for him, he has unrealistic expectations in terms of his time and efficiency. He constantly uses the word efficiency, assuming he is a Big Four partner. Now, when you're a student, you should not overvalue your time. So the problem is once something happens, it could be because of a particular chapter, because of your energy level, it's a 6. Now his complaint is, last ball I hit a 6, this ball I'm not able to hit a 6. That is only complaint. 6 is supposed to be happening once in a while. So he's constantly worried about why he's not hitting sixers. So that exactly is the problem. Otherwise, yes, that's similar. Lastly, yes. Now coming to Tejashvi, yes, this is purely psychological because if I have to bet on someone, that would be Tejashwani to score 2 exemptions in 2 papers because of the intensity at which started. The reason why I picked her up is also very personal. She has something happening in her family, and I thought our intervention will set right the whole family. So that way, she matched our expectations in terms of intensity. Right from day one, she was just doing things. Now the problem is, the last time she cleared an active exam was in 2018. Now, once you don't see success for the 6 consecutive years, and apart from that, there's something else which has happened earlier. So she has to overcome that. It's not easy, but the good thing is she's not compromising her efforts because of what is happening within her. Something is happening within her, but she's able to perform irrespective, and she's not bringing that as an excuse. She's a victim. She's clearly a victim of her thought process, but she's not creating an excuse. That is a good thing because we can work with her and we'll resolve it. Now coming to Radha, the exact opposite of Kushal. Now this guy can put in enormous amount of efforts without worrying about result. Now for her, she's like a Marwari. I put in 1 minute, I have to get 1 mark. So she's over conscious about her efforts, which is good, and she produces that. It's right now, all has to happen is we just have to increase the quantum of our effort with consistent. That's it. Because I think all the mentors are able to see the effort clearly on the paper. If there is one person where we are directly able to see the effort result cause effect relation, that's her 100%. Like if she puts in 10 hours, we'll see that on the paper. So that is why we can bet on her. That is fine. And coming to Pranati, it's a long, I would say, very long cycle, because one thing which I always said is she never had the experience of cracking an exam like this, because she's the only one in the whole squad who did not write the foundation exam. So yes, she got into this, and it's very hard for her to understand the level. So you can only understand so much, because foundation, once you write it, you'll go through the cycle and you'll know something about it. So definitely it's hard. And also her personality level, even within her, there are certain things which has to be worked upon. So she's handling the 2 biggest problems of her life together. So naturally it is hard. One good thing about her is she's adopting. She's like, there is progression in terms of how she is. Earlier it was hard, a bit rigid. Now she's open. But she has to, completely remove that and probably take a partial surrender. Even if you don't trust the process entirely, you should know that if you think like this, okay, if I had to do it myself, anyways, I won't clear. No, why don't I just surrender to this? If you do that one single step, the mental resistance will fade away, and then you'll see the progress significantly. Otherwise, there is significant improvement in her. Vatsalya, for her, she has this perfectionist syndrome. Like she wants to get that sense of completion and perfection. And she also has good ability like Radha, in a sense that something is done, she can be able to produce that onto the paper. But for her, it's her progression is not linked to the reality. It's perceptional. Let's say she completed a chapter called Standard Costing in 6 hours. Now that moves, the needle moves, but she thinks, okay, it normally has to take 12 hours. I think I should complete all the problems. She's waiting for that perception sense of completion, which, hinders her progression in her mind. So if she removes that need for sense of completion, she'll clear. That will happen. And coming to Ariba, she needs a lot of internal mental maintenance. Like she's like a panda, that she needs that ecosystem to be pampered. Otherwise, I'll give you one of the mentor's feedback. Like, even if you give her 1 day to complete a subject, she'll be able to replicate as if she has been studying it for the last 10 days. So everything is there in her mind, outrightly. Even if you close the books today, if she directly goes to the exam, she can clear both groups. But having said that, there are a lot of constraints and mental maintenance activities which come in our way. So that is the constraint. So largely, except a couple of them, everybody can clear if they don't do the self-sabotage or self-suicide. Now, ICI is not going to kill anyone. It's like you're just pressing it. So, yeah, this is very bad.
Okay. How many of you knew that Himakant knew this level of detail about you already? Okay. You all knew. You knew that he knew. How many of you are actually a little bit surprised that he knows so much about you guys? Okay. So one of the reasons I did this is the following. He told that I put in some effort for whatever direction, right? The key thing is this: you have to know a bit about the nature of your mind. Okay. This usually happens naturally. Like I don't know. I mean, this is common movie knowledge, but people say, okay, he's a self-aware person, right? What does it mean is he knows some of the things of how he or she knows how their mind is acting out. Okay, the thing is you have to know the things that are relevant for what you are trying to do. Let's say, you want to go and become an archer, but if you have a slight tremor in your hand, that won't matter when you're writing CA. You need not be aware of it. Only if you go and like do archery, you will suddenly realize that instead of hitting that, you're hitting something else. So similarly, you have to know certain aspects of your mind that are relevant for this thing. Now, the reason why, in a way, I did this thing is also to make sure that you guys know that he knows about it, because you may not know that he knows this level of detail because you're not part of the discussions of the mentor, right? So he's getting multiple inputs. Sometimes he may have spent very little time with you, but because he probably got enough input from other people, he's just spending a little bit of time because he's thinking of a solution, right? So that is where it is. Now, this getting to know the nature of the mind is important because just like getting to know the nature of your steadiness of your hand, if you don't know the nature of your mind, it can get in the way of your work. Okay, so like for instance, if you see that you're always even if whether you express it or not, some of you may not express it, some of you are just expressing it. You're always getting excuse in your mind. If you see in the initial stages, like just to set your routine, it was a lot of work, right? You just to make it right, because before that you thought you had 100 problems. Only if you fix them, you'll be able to sit and study, right? At least some of you definitely thought. But once you start sitting, you suddenly realize that they're actually not relevant for you. Okay, so now there are several things. One is you operate on a high intense path. At least for you, it is high intense. Forget about somebody else. The second thing is they have a limited time. They have to cover the subject. They have a limited time. So many things that they tell you, it is better for you to do them even if you don't understand them, because they see how much everybody, you cannot sit and explain, right? You're doing this because this is why you're doing this. You cannot ask for reasons for everything. Okay, like once you clear and let's say you want to become a mentor, that's a different thing. But there's no point in you looking for these reasons. If you keep looking for those reasons, what will happen is you will not focus on the process. Many of you are just talking about these things, but are you all comfortable with just focusing on problems and learning through problems? Frankly, yes, no.
Like always been focused on the problem.
As in just learning through problems. You're learning through problems, right? I don't think you would have done this many like problems when you're learning a subject in your life back so far. I don't think that's usual. That is usual. Are you comfortable now with that, or you still have some level of discomfort? You're comfortable. Huh? You're learning as you go, so you're comfortable with it. Is everybody comfortable?
By learning through problems.
Learning through problems. Everybody is comfortable, and even though every time you're constantly facing rejection from the problem, right? Every time you do a problem, you don't know it because it's always anything about you. That is not creating any problem for you. You're comfortable with that. Not comfortable? Yeah, comfortable, not comfortable? Comfortable. You're comfortable with that. For generally, that also tends to be a problem because usually when you start reading, you will have a sense of completeness, right? This is like a you're always finding something you don't know. Right? It's like having a parent always criticizing you. Only thing it's not a human doing; it's a book doing for you, right? So if you that is actually a good part of the story. Again, about so if you have a lot of questions in your mind generally about like let's say Hari says do something, you might not understand him, but 90% of the time he knows why he's telling you to do something. He may not sit and explain it to you, okay, or he may not have the time, or he may not have the willingness, because that's not important. You doing it is important than you understanding why it's being told, right? So that is the thing. So as you know more about your nature of your mind that is relevant to the job that you're doing, you will know like why you're not doing it. Let's say you have a habit of like questioning authority, okay. What happens if you notice, I don't know if you or your friends have it, you get slight anger when somebody tells you to do something, right? Because you have something against authority. Many people have it, I also have it, okay. But the moment you realize that, what happens is that no longer becomes a problem for you, because whenever this happens, that anger comes, you'll wait and then start acting, right? Now I'll just tell you like more of these behaviors. You are studying, your friend will want to come and talk. Why? They're actually exhausted or they're frustrated with the study. They're looking for a break. They're not actually talking to you. They might themselves not be aware that they're doing this so that they get a break. But you can't. I mean, this is not the place for you to discover those things. The only reason I'm bringing this up is it is getting in the way of many of your preparations according to the mentors. That is why I'm just bringing it up. So people coming and talking to you is just a question of them wanting a break, so that they'll talk to you. It's not that they want to have a conversation with you for something serious. They just need a break. Okay, so what you have to do, you have to like set them aside, because it will cool off in their mind. It will not stay. So once it cools off in their mind, they're back to normal. So they shouldn't be using conversation as a means to cool off their mind, because that affects you. Right? So that is one thing. Second thing, I don't know if you've noticed about this. This is very common to everybody. If you see, your mind always goes to extreme. Let's say 3 days you are on a roll with respect to your preparation. You will think that maybe you'll score a rank, which might be true. I'm not saying it is not true. 3 days your preparation is going shit. You will think that you will never clear in your life. You won't think that you might not clear in your life. Your mind always pushes you to the extreme, because the recency bias of mind is very high generally. So like this is also how stock market works. Basically, if it is going up, people keep piling in money. It goes too much, and then suddenly it crashes. It will not crash like little bit. It crashes like a huge amount of time whenever there is a bear crash. So that is like an accumulated human behavior there. So this recency bias is there. So there are many things in your mind. Some things are common to everybody. Some things are very particular to you. So if you're not able to follow instructions, number one, trust. Okay, trust the process. Now, if you cannot trust the process, okay, you don't have time, force yourself to trust it. Okay, later, if you want to figure this out, later after the exam, then you can take time and then say, okay, which particular aspects of my mind should I be aware, so that this doesn't get in the way of trusting my process. Then you can do that, but you cannot do it now. Okay, so if it's not a problem for you, it doesn't matter, but this thing, you will know. So now that you at least know that mind has a nature of its own, you'll start watching about it. Ideally, you should, like by this time you would know, and usually you figure it out by the time you're like in late teens and stuff. At least you'll have a sense that I am like this, I am like that. You know that, right? At least if you don't know it about you, you know about your friends. She's like that only. That phrase, he's like that only, is actually that. So, but that is impacting you here.
So finally, like as we say, this is our one last attempt in terms of bringing in a psychological intervention. Again, we are not here to fix your personality alone. If that is the scope of the project, we can do it every single day. Now, this is something which is beyond our scope, and the psychologist whom you met said a normal psychological process, if you're taking therapy for your problems, it will take more than a year. Now we are actually fixing it in a couple of months or even less, while achieving a tangible. No psychologist will assure you about the result. So, and it just can't get better. You imagine an imaginary scenario anywhere in the world, not just India, who would do this? It's just happening somehow in this manner. How many IITians you met in your life? That answers. How many times you have been in a room with 5 chartered accountants? So before you think critically, think about, is there any possibility of this being done elsewhere? Or you look at how something is being done at your home. Can you replicate this? Can you mentor one student? Can you take the guarantee of a class 10 student to clear? Can you think of it when you have a question about how others are doing it? Because a chai wala has always inputs for Sachin Tendulkar, right? He should have played the shot like this. That mentality is something which will destroy you. PM Modi should have been done this. Russia shouldn't have started the war. Trump should not have won. So you have answers for everything. So that mentality, if you apply here, you're gone. So you look at it pragmatically, and you bring in problems, not fears. Once again, your fears we cannot handle because they're irrational. Rationalize your fears, convert them into problems, come with this set. Because this set, I already told you, you bring any of this, we'll be happy to solve because we know how to do this. Now, the same problem which you have with fear, we also have it. You are scared, that scares us, and when we are scared, we cannot solve it. So let's convert fears into problems and let's start solving them. And this is the best it can get. It just can't get better than this. What would you do? If you want to buy a phone, 15 Pro Max or 16 Pro Max, that's it. That your capacity max out 1 TB. Beyond it, what can I do? I might have some expectations. What can I do? That's it. This is the best. Now, in terms of getting support before writing an exam, this is the best. This is better than this. What we do. That's it. Now, is it enough? I have my problems. I need a pen. Just like my Samsung, I need a pen for this. I can't have it. I can't have it all. So you stop worrying about how else the process should be done. You stop researching about what else has to be done. You focus on your problem, why you're here. This is one. And second, you invested for the mentors, not for bullshit opinions. Your neighbors, people always have opinions because they're helpless. They have to say those words. They have to blabber those words after 10 hours. They have to blabber. They don't have an option not to talk. You should understand it that way. Don't take it on face value, because one drop of poison can spoil the entire river if it's powerful enough. There is no way that we can stop the poison from coming from your peers. But you have to understand it is natural. I'm not even asking, just because somebody says something negative, you don't have to judge them. But you protect yourself. It is always human tendency to say something. It happens at all levels. Now, when he is very intense with me, even I say something to him. Between us, it happens. Now, between the mentors and me, it happens. Between the mentors and me, it happens. At all levels, it happens. But you should not give too much importance and get carried away, because that might impact you. You are here to follow the process directed by the core, whichever comes from us, right? You're not here for random bullshit advice. So that you have to protect yourself. Now, once I hope this conversation of 50 minutes, we are looking at one focus block slot will improve 10 to 15 minutes for the next 30 days every 15 minutes. Now, why did we take a decision to invest 50 minutes into this? Because this will add 15 minutes to every 15 minutes. 15 minutes to every 15 minutes, which I wrote here. This is exactly what we're looking at. One time investing. So 15 minutes every 50 minutes. Right? So every hour, 15 minutes is going to increase. This will change. This will get you those additional 15 marks. If you're worrying about failure, most of you are worried about getting 130, right? You're not worried about getting 60. So this is our last attempt in this direction. Ravi's support will be there. The psychologists keep visiting, and we're always open for a conversation. We are there to support you unconditionally. I'm telling you, we would be able to do what your parents also may not be able to do because of a lot of reasons. Because we have the passion plus professional experience and expertise. So we're lucky to be in this space where we can contribute a lot. So please make the best use of this, and let's ensure all of us clear. Simple and straightforward. Then you'll know, because when you know everyone who is going through the process, why are they staying back? You notice, right? They're staying back. Why? You think about it. It's more difficult for them than you. You know that. You know that it is very hard for anyone to handle you. You know that. You know that it is hard for you to handle yourself. Now, if you have to start writing reviews about yourself, there will be more negative reviews about yourself in a given year, right? If you have to write reviews about your parent, don't you think you have issues with your parents? If you have to think about your parents, because just because you're accepting them, don't you think you have issues with your parents? So people have issues with people. That is bound to happen. So when you have issues with yourself, when you have issues with your parents, there is a chance that you have issues with your friends. There is a chance that you have issues with the mentors. Now, why are we cribbing about it? Why are we letting that impact your preparation?
That is important.
Right? Let it be. That's okay. You are not perfect. No one is perfect. So let's focus on clearing the exam. Once you clear this, it will open a new world of possibilities which you never imagined. You're right about scaring the consequence of failure. You think about the consequence of passing. Now, fear of failure convert into possibilities of passing. Possibilities of passing. Insert that thought. Possibilities of passing. Insert that thought. Then you think through. Every time you get this, possibilities of passing. I don't have to talk about it. I hope you know what are the possibilities. Are we good? Clear? So thanks for the patient audience and most importantly, your interaction and involvement. We're very happy this turned out the way we wanted, and I especially want to thank Ravi because he brings in a very different dimension, which it is not possible for any other professional to add in this domain. So with this context, I think let's go and hit January, hoping that all of you will clear in this one last second. Clear? Good. Thank you, Hari, for recording this.